You chose this.
What's going on, Aurora Alliance, and welcome back to a brand new Star Wars Battlefront 2 video. And in this video we're going to be talking about the few things that I didn't really like that much about the Star Wars Battlefront 2 build that we got to play at EA Play. Now, bearing in mind that the game that we played at EA Play was the pre-alpha build of the game, so this is by no means the final build of the game. I imagine all of these issues will be fixed by the time the game releases for everyone to buy, or at least the beta. But other than these issues, I really think that Star Wars Battlefront 2 is a fantastic Star Wars online multiplayer shooter game, and I think it's a lot better than the original Star Wars Battlefront 2 game, which everybody seems to love. It was a great game at the time, but EA's Star Wars Battlefront 2 does trump it for me, so I'm really interested to see what the game is going to be like when it fully releases. So in this list we do have a lot of issues which everyone seems to think are issues, and then we've got a couple which might just be my own personal opinion of the game. So first up is a really big one for me, and it's to do with the lightsaber heroes in Star Wars Battlefront 2. We got to play as Rey and Darth Maul, and although they were really great to play as, they did have a few sort of small issues which I really found quite annoying. For example, Rey feels like a really powerful hero once you can get close enough to the enemy to start using your lightsaber, mind trick, and other abilities. But it's actually getting to the enemies and then getting away from the enemies that seems to be the problem. Rey really isn't very fast. She feels like sort of medium paced. She isn't a really quick hero like Luke was in the first Star Wars Battlefront game. I'd say she's more sort of got a Han Solo Leia feel about her speed. So she's really quite slow at getting into the action, and then once you're in the action, although she can block, if people start throwing grenades and stuff, you can't really run away from them really quickly, and then if you do run away, you'll get shot in the back and you'll die quite quickly. So I'd really like to see Rey's speed sort of upped a little bit, so you can get in and out of action really quickly. On the other hand, Maul is really fast, and he is really good at getting in and out of action really quickly, but then once you're in the action, you have to keep attacking or using your abilities to get away, because Maul can't block. I'd really like to see Maul be able to block in the full game, because if someone's attacking you with a lightsaber, it's always handy to have that blocking feature. But when you're going up against blaster wielding enemies as well, you kind of have to use your abilities to get really close, do as much damage as possible, and then if you're getting overwhelmed, use your abilities again to get away. If you don't have them abilities there available to use while you are taking that damage though, you are kind of screwed. So I'd really like to see Rey's pace upped a little bit, and Maul have a blocking ability. The next issue is the jump troopers. The clone jump troopers are amazing. The jump pack really isn't that bad. It's a bit spammy because it refreshes so quickly, but the jump pack on its own doesn't do any damage, so I don't see the jump pack as really the issue. The main issue is the high damage radius of the smart rocket. I got so many multi-kills with the jump trooper in the EA Play build, it's actually ridiculous, because it has such a high damage radius. You can even take half a hero's health straight away if they are at full health with a smart rocket. Just one smart rocket. I mean, that's a lot of damage to do. To someone who has spent a lot of time trying to get 5,000 battle points, they spawn in and bang, straight away, they lose half of their health. I believe it should work that if you get hit directly with the smart rocket, then it should do the full amount of damage, but if it lands like near you, it should only do a bit of damage, and then if it's a little bit further away, maybe it causes a little bit of damage to you. But at EA Play, if you fired it even quite far away from an enemy, it would more than likely kill them because of how much damage it does. The third issue is a strafe run / vehicles still in the air after phase 1, even though you can't actually spawn in as them after phase 1. What I mean by this is, if someone is in a vehicle during phase 1 and then phase 2 starts, that person will get to stay in their vehicle, but anyone on the ground won't get to spawn in any starfighters. So if there is only one person in the air, they will be able to just keep strafe running and strafe running and strafe running without anyone even going to attack them or cause any damage, and this causes spawn killing. And spawn killing is really not good, it's something that everyone's going to complain about. So I feel like if someone is in a Vulture Droid or an N1 starfighter after phase 1, maybe when the MTT destroys the palace doors, there should be the little cutscene where it destroys the doors, then whoever is in an N1 starfighter or a Vulture Droid should be spawned in as a normal trooper, so this spawn killing doesn't happen, because it is really frustrating There was so many times where I just got spawn killed and spawn killed and spawn killed like 3 or 4 times before the N1 Starfighter or Vulture Droid was just sort of destroyed or crashed. So I feel like this is an issue that really needs to be resolved before the beta or full game releases. Now we're going on to some more personal issues that I have with the game. A lot of people didn't really mention them, but I felt like they were a bit of an issue. For example, the officer class has a turret ability, but this turret ability doesn't feel very powerful. When I was using the officer class, I would put the turret down in an open area where enemies would be running, so that I would get a lot of battle points from causing damage to them. However, when I put a turret down, it felt like no matter how long it was down for, it never really got any kills or did that much damage because of how long it takes to lock on, and it can be killed really quickly, so I feel like this needs to be changed or buffed or made so it locks on a little bit faster or something like that, because it really feels useless from the build that we played at EA Play. The next issue is the heavy class's personal shield. Because if you are a heavy and you activate your personal shield and then you crouch down, no one in front of you can cause you any damage unless they throw grenades at you. If you come up to an enemy and he has his personal shield out and he is crouched, you have to flank around his sides, around his back, then shoot him in his sides or his back to then kill him. Because the personal shield has so much health, it takes a really long time to kill it, and within that time, the person who is using the heavy class with the shield up will kill you. So I really feel like this heavy personal shield needs to have less health, or it needs to have something that can penetrate it so you can kill the person who is using it while he has it activated. Normal blaster bolts should still be stopped by it though. I'm not saying normal blaster bolts should be able to shoot through the personal shield. I just feel like something like the cycler rifle or the scattergun should still be able to shoot through it. The next issue is quite a personal one. I don't know if anyone else felt this at EA Play, but mine was with the Barrage star card. Now it has been nerfed from the first game, which is a really good thing. It is less spammy. It now only fires one shot if you press it once. If you want to fire it 3 times, you have to press your trigger 3 times, which I think is a good improvement. But it is really hard in Star Wars Battlefront 2 to judge where this barrage is going to go. I used it pretty much every single match to try and sort of judge how it was going, but I never really got any kills with it because it just felt really hard to judge. The drop on it was really quite high, really. It didn't fire far before it started to drop. So I felt like it was a little bit useless at long range. It was kind of like a close range thing, but then you would cause damage to yourself. It was quite annoying. It was a good star card to use though for, say, distracting a hero or taking someone down who was using a heavy personal shield. At long range, if you've seen someone, say, camping behind a wall and you had used your thermal detonator, you picked your barrage and tried to fire it, it was really hard to judge where those shots were going to go. So I feel like maybe it needs to fire a little bit further before it starts to drop down or something. I'm not sure how they'll fix that, but I think it needs to be looked at. The last issue I have is with spawns. Now, the spawns are really quite good in Star Wars Battlefront 2. You don't get spawn killed that much apart from the strafe run issue. But once the MTT reaches a certain point in the map for the droid side anyway, when you spawn in, you will spawn really far out of the action, so it takes a really long time to get back into the action and then start fighting. And then especially in Phase 2, once the MTT has destroyed the palace doors, you spawn really quite far behind where all the action is, so it takes a really long time, no matter which side you're on, to get back into the battle. Now in the first Battlefront game the spawns were a bit crap. You would get spawn kills loads, it was absolutely ridiculous. So you were too close to the action, where in Star Wars Battlefront 2 you're a little bit too far away sometimes. So I feel like they need to look at that and then make it a sort of happy medium, where you're quite close enough that you can get back into the action quite quickly, but not so close that you get spawn killed every single time you try to spawn. Like I said before, a lot of these are personal issues, but some of them are issues that pretty much everyone was facing, like the jump troopers, the strafe runs, and the personal shields. They were issues that everybody was coming across, so I imagine those will definitely be changed by the time the beta comes around. Let me know down in the comment section below if you have any questions about Star Wars Battlefront 2, and I will try to answer them in a future video or a live stream or something like that. And make sure to smash a like on this video if you have enjoyed it. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to join the Aurora Alliance and be kept up to date with all things Star Wars Battlefront 2 and other Star Wars games. Other than that, may the Force be with you.